A Guide to Setting Better Boundaries in the Workplace abstract. This article examines how organizations can establish and maintain clear boundaries to promote healthy work-life balance in the modern workplace. As technology enables constant connectivity and an always-on culture, employees increasingly struggle with work-life separation, leading to stress and burnout that costs businesses billions annually in lost productivity. The authors explore practical strategies for creating a boundary-centric workplace culture, including implementing formal out-of-hours communication policies, offering flexible scheduling, reforming PTO practices, and ensuring leadership models appropriate boundary behavior. The article details industry-specific boundary approaches, outlines methods for clearly communicating expectations, and discusses enforcement mechanisms that maintain standards while allowing for situational flexibility. By establishing clear boundaries, organizations can simultaneously improve employee well-being and business outcomes through reduced stress, increased engagement, and enhanced productivity. Setting clear boundaries is essential for establishing a healthy work-life balance and maintaining productive relationships in the workplace. However, boundaries can often be blurred unintentionally as pressures mount and lines are crossed. Today, we will explore how organizations and leaders can implement strategies to create a boundary-centric culture with well-defined rules and expectations. With diligent communication and consistency, workers at all levels will understand how to separate professional tasks from personal lives. Better boundaries benefit employers through increased engagement and reduced stress, while empowering employees to avoid burnout. Understanding the need for boundaries. According to research from the American Psychological Association, about half of employees feel constantly stressed by the inability to disengage from work. APA 2015. Constant connectivity enabled by technology has fostered a always-on mentality that encourages work intensification and longer hours. CIPD 2017. Without clearly delineated boundaries, professional lives tend to spill over into personal time through after-hours communications and weekend work. Setting boundaries protects against this overwork by separating responsibilities based on domains like time, work hours vs. personal hours, location, workplace vs. home, and relationships, co-workers vs. friends, family. Boundaries give permission to fully detach from job duties outside of work, lowering 24/7 availability expectations. This allows for recharging through non-work activities and relationships. Clark, 2000. Researchers argue diminished boundaries directly contribute to burnout, which costs U.S. industries over $125 billion annually in lost productivity. Gallup, 2013. Thus, boundary management provides economic as well as humanistic benefits for organizations. Creating a boundary-centric culture to foster positive boundary norms. Leaders must first examine existing assumptions and policies that may unintentionally condone a work all the time mindset. Subtle cues like responding to late-night emails or calling informal weekend meetings set a precedent for blurry lines. Leaders should openly communicate a revised company philosophy valuing work-life integration over constant availability. Specific policies should also be enacted. Out-of-hours communications policy. A formal policy clarifying appropriate communication channels and times establishes reasonable client-customer service windows. After hours, notifications shift to voicemail or email auto-replies, redirecting non-urgent matters until normal business hours. Flexible scheduling, allowing flexible start-stop times and occasional work-from-home days, respects personal obligations while getting work done. This accommodates individual boundaries better than mandatory overtime or inflexible presenteeism. PTO use it or lose it reform. Departments should discourage accruing unused paid time off, instead promoting regular vacations and time away from work through use it or lose it policies. Leaders model behavior. Managers must avoid emails after a certain evening hour or working most weekends to set the standard. Accessing work communication channels only during scheduled hours models healthy personal boundaries. Communicating boundary expectations. Clarifying and consistently communicating new boundary expectations serves two key purposes. First, it provides transparency around policy changes to gain workforce buy-in and minimize confusion. Second, it establishes understood guidelines for appropriate on- and off-duty conduct. Regular updates on boundary protocols through multiple mediums will optimize understanding. Company intranet portal. A dedicated page outlines all relevant boundary policies clearly in one centralized digital location. New employee orientation. Inclusion in onboarding activities emphasizes the importance of boundaries from day one. Leadership messaging. Senior team members regularly discuss boundary priorities in staff meetings and newsletters. Performance evaluations. Incorporating goal setting and feedback pertaining to personal boundary management provides structure. Professional development training. Optional workshops offer skills building for enforcing healthier boundaries and stating no professionally. Making expectations unambiguous sets the organization and each employee up for success in honoring realistic boundaries. It also fosters psychological safety to bring up any boundary-related concerns without fear of reprisal. Managing boundaries in different industries. Boundary needs understandably vary depending on a company's industry and operational demands. Healthcare, for instance, requires availability beyond standard business hours for patient emergencies. However, the following examples show how typical industries have implemented boundary policies tailored to their work. Technology firm. A software company instituted a strict, evenings and weekends off, rule barring non-emergency communication outside 9 to 5. Engineers reported 20% less stress and 10% higher productivity. Forbes, 2020. On-call rotations ensure 24/7 support without burning entire teams. Financial services. An investment bank created flexible, core hours, from 10 to 3 when all managers must be available. Plus individual hourly minimums. Outside of core periods, employees control their schedules and locations freely. CNN, 2019. This accommodates trading hours while allowing personal flexibility. Education. A university prohibited administrators from responding to internal departmental emails after 7 p.m. or on federal holidays to cease work. Bleed over. They found better work-life balance reduced attrition by 15% over 3 years. HuffPost, 2018. Healthcare. A large hospital network uses a 13-hour rule. Staff can't work more than 13 hours consecutively between 2 shifts including their commute. Off-duty caregivers don't pick up new patients as a safety precaution. NPR, 2016. Boundaries maintain workplace well-being in high-stress environments. Enforcing boundary policies for boundaries to hold meaning. Clear consequences must follow any violations through open communication and corrective action. Leaders should address infractions sensitively on a case-by-case basis to understand motivations fully before determining remedies. Informal discussion. Minor first offenses may only require reminding the person of policies politely. Written reminder. Documenting repeat mistakes formally reminds them of expected conduct moving forward. Required training. Assigning a virtual boundary management course or one-on-one coaching for chronic offenders tailored to their situation. Performance improvement plan. Those unable to meet expectations after coaching may need intensive PIP monitoring. Termination. Only in extreme cases of negligence, malice, or blatant disregard should termination result without prior attempts at remediation. Consistency and fairness hold highest importance to avoid perceptions of targeting. Enforcement shows policies carry importance rather than existing as suggestions. But discretion allows leniency for unavoidable lapses due to rare urgent client demands. Conclusion. By deliberately crafting a boundary-centric culture through clear policies, Communication, leadership role modeling, and reasonable oversight. Organizations optimize workforce wellness, retention, and business outcomes. Respecting personal lives away from work enhances employee engagement, satisfaction, and productivity on the job. Establishing an environment where disconnecting professionally is acceptable and even promoted ultimately supports fulfilling personal lives away from the office. With diligent implementation and maintenance of boundary standards, companies remain competitive while sustaining their people's well-being.